Africa. With its copious wildlife, its abundant natural resources, its enthralling climate, its enchanting people, is a fascinating continent of 54 countries, with a population of over 1 billion people. It is the second largest continent and covers almost 20% of the Earth's landmass. The land is like gold and is extremely fertile. As for water, there is abundance of it across the continent. It is said that only 20% of Africa's water is enough to make the continent the food basket of the world. However, when it comes to agriculture, and in agriculture, when it comes to irrigation, each country in this fascinating continent is way behind for various reasons. Globally, 18% of the cultivated land is irrigated, while in Africa, only a minuscule 6% of the cultivated land is irrigated. No wonder, with a rising population, erratic rainfall, and no irrigation to speak of, each country in this fascinating continent has to resort to food imports every year at a cost of millions of dollars of precious foreign exchange to feed its people. Senegal, until the year 2005, was importing 800,000 tons of rice every year at a cost of 350 to 400 million US dollars. This story began in March 2005 during the first edition of the CII Exim Conclave in New Delhi on India-Africa Projects Partnership, where, as a principal sponsor, KBL got an opportunity to make a brief presentation about its range of pumps, capabilities, and its success stories across the 6 continents. The Senegalese team, after the presentation, asked KBL to visit Senegal at the earliest to ensure that Senegal gets benefited by KBL's expertise. On April 17, 2005, KBL's team arrived in Dakar, Senegal, met with the officials of the Ministry of Agriculture, drew up an action plan of visits to the rice cultivation farms in the north and in the south, visited locations, camping at St. Louis in the north and Ziguinchor in the south. KBL made a comprehensive study of all these locations, studied their average rainfall, crop patterns, the land holdings, irrigated areas, irrigation potential, and prevailing systems of irrigation. All the data collected was fine-tuned, and after a few rounds of discussions with the ministry officials, KBL drew up a comprehensive proposal to usher in a green revolution and thereby attain food sufficiency in Senegal. KBL, with an experience of over 100 years, established in 1888 and incorporated in 1920, is the largest manufacturer and exporter of pumps and pumping systems from India. Its AAA philosophy offers appropriate, adaptable, and affordable pumping solutions to its customers worldwide. With its strong presence in the key economic sectors of water, power, and agriculture across 6 continents, KBL is poised to be amongst the top 5 pump companies in the world by 2015. Laos, once an importer of rice, today it has exportable surplus. Egypt, over 200,000 hectares of desert land converted into greenbelt, thanks to more than 100,000 Kirloskar pump sets. In Egypt, a pump is called a Kirloskar. The world's largest pumping project, designed, manufactured and installed by KBL to irrigate more than 540,000 hectares of farmland at Sardar Sarovar Narmada Nigam Limited, Gujarat, India. KBL wished to bring this experience to Senegal, as well as to the developing economies of Africa, Asia, and Latin America. On April 23, 2005, a detailed proposal was presented to the Honourable President of Senegal, Son Excellence Maitre Abdelwade. A gala meeting was held at the President's Palace on May 5, 2005, where more than 400 delegates from across the provinces were present, including all the ministers and bureaucrats, with the Honourable President himself in the chair for a 3-hour-long session. Each delegate spoke briefly but candidly about the project and gave a unanimous thumbs up to the KBL proposal. The event was telecast live across the nation, with all local newspapers covering the event as well. The next day's national newspaper, Le Soleil, carried the news on its front page as the main story. With the presidential approval, KBL signed the contract with the Ministry of Agriculture for 2,394 pump sets to irrigate 65,000 hectares of land. KBL, within 8 weeks after receipt of a letter of credit, made the first shipment of 111 containers, consisting of more than 1,600 pump sets and accessories, on May 15, 2006. This was ceremonially sent off at the auspicious hands of the Honourable Ambassador of Senegal, His Excellence Amadou Boukam, and his economic councillor, Mr. Sheikh Jello, at Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, JNPT, Mumbai. KBL's team of experts was in Dakar again from November 2006 to help ministry officials distribute the pumping systems to the farmers in various provinces, train the farmers in operation and maintenance of the pump sets, install the sets, and carry out the handing over formalities. July 5, 2008, Le Soleil, the newspaper, carried a front-page story declaring happily that Senegal had, for the first time ever, harvested over 60,000 tons of paddy in the first-ever dry season harvest due to KBL's appropriate irrigation systems. And the results are there for all to see. Rice production has gone up 6 times to over 600,000 tons, from less than 100,000 tons within 2 years. Local production now meets 59% of local consumption, as against only 12% before the project. And farmland under irrigation is now over 85,000 hectares, against less than 24,000 hectares before the project. Senegal is well on its way to food sufficiency. The Honourable President of Senegal expressed his happiness and total satisfaction to Mr. Sanjay Kirloskar and entrusted KBL to irrigate over 100,000 hectares of farmland in the Northern Valley to make Senegal food sufficient in rice by 2013. And this is just the beginning of KBL's partnership with the fascinating African continent, to usher in a green revolution, to empower its people towards happiness and prosperity. Water is life. We give life to water.